You are never going to believe what this travel vlogger caught in one of her photos. Now, in this photo is a young woman named Sarah Funk, and she was a travel vlogger visiting Cyprus at this time. Now, the area in the photo that she was visiting on this day is known as the Mitsero Red Lake. Now, the lake is man-made, and it was created when a copper pyrite mining company had excavated the area. Eventually, the company did abandon the site, but during the winter, the snow would accumulate and eventually it would all melt. And because of the acid in the area, the water would eventually turn red. But because it is a strange phenomenon, it's not something that you see anywhere every day, a lot of tourists have been coming here to take a few photos. And Sarah was one of those tourists on this day in 2017. Although she did notice that there was a strange object in the water right next to her near the shoreline, she didn't think anything bad of it. In fact, she had said that at first she thought it was some sort of wooden log. But a few years later, what she did not expect were the news that came out of Cyprus. And it was that multiple bodies had been found in this red lake, with some of them being stuffed into old suitcases. And in this photo here, it was exactly that. It was one of the suitcases and not a wooden log like what Sarah had originally thought. Now, the news first broke in 2019 when tourists found the body of a woman named Mary Bros Tiburcio. She was originally from the Philippines and she was 39 years old at the time, and because there was a lot of rain in the area during this time, it flooded a lot of the mine shafts around the lake and her body surfaced to the top. A few days later, another woman was found named Arian Palanas, and she was also from the Philippines. A couple weeks later, there was a third body that was discovered, and although it was not in the lake, it was definitely close by. As for the bodies in the suitcases, they were found in the lake, and they belonged to a woman named Livia Florentina, who was 36 years old at the time, and her daughter, Elena. But she was not the only person found in a suitcase in this lake. There was also another woman named Maricar, who was 30 years old, that was also found. And the person responsible for all of these heinous crimes was this man here, Nikos Metakas, and he was only 35. He would quickly end up pleading guilty to unaliving 7 women and young girls in Cyprus over 3 years, which surprisingly made him Cyprus's first serial killer. And although he would go on to apologize to the families of all of his victims, he never really gave an explanation as to why he did this. It just seemed like he didn't even know what drove him to do this himself. It turns out that he had been luring women online via dating sites, and he was also using a fake name. But in the end, he realized that there was just no point in fighting in any of this, which resulted in him being found guilty. From there, he was sentenced to 25 years in prison. And it kind of just makes you wonder what sort of things you've caught in your photos in the background that you never noticed in the first place.